there, welcome back to Language Professora. In today's session, we're going to be continuing where we left off with Introduction to Literature, especially for those kids who hate to read. Today's session is going to be, what is the plot? What is the plot? It rhymes, doesn't it? And that's exactly what the plot is. The plot outlines what is happening in the story. So from start to finish, all the events that unfold, that is your plot. It moves in a linear fashion. So it moves from point A all the way through to point Z. You may have some things happening in between, but that is not at your level right now. You're just trying to understand literature and trying to develop a love for it. So that is sort of where you need to know right now. The plot contains what is called the conflict, the climax, and the resolution. Don't forget those three terms, okay? The plot also has some suspense, and suspense is that added layer that brings some amount of excitement and anticipation. Think about when you're watching a movie and things are happening and you can't wait to see what is going to happen next. That not wanting to wait to see what's going to happen next, that is your suspense. The plot, you also want to remember, features the other elements of the story. Those would be your characters, your setting, and your theme. Let's talk about the conflict. The conflict is a problem that needs to be solved. A lot of times when we hear the word conflict, we think about an argument or a fight. It's nothing like that. It is just a problem that needs to be solved. Now, we have different types of conflict. A character can have a conflict within themselves. That is what we call an internal conflict. So maybe the character has a decision to make, and all of that is happening just with that one character. So maybe they have to decide, am I going to go to school today or not? Am I going to have patty for lunch or box drink? You understand? So once it's a problem or a decision that the character is trying to make within themselves, that is conflict with self, internal conflict. You also have conflict with others. That is now a conflict or a problem that is occurring between the characters. And this is the main type of conflict that you will see in your stories. So character A is at odds with character B. Character A maybe wants to go to see a movie. Character B wants to go to the beach. Once there is a problem or a decision to be made, that is a conflict. And if any of the characters are interacting with that issue, it's a conflict with others. And a third type of conflict is conflict with nature. As it suggests, nature, natural elements, the environment, things that are outside of the character's control. So in the scenario with character A wanting to go to the movie and character B wanting to go to the beach, it starts to rain. Neither of the two characters can control the rain. So conflict with nature is something outside of the character's control. Let's now take a look at climax and resolution. The climax is the high point of the story. It's like climbing a mountain and you get to the very tippy top of it and you can't go any further. So the climax, nothing else can happen after this without the story just basically falling apart. You can't go any further without something happening that will bring everything to some sort of closure. And that closure is the resolution. The resolution is the problem that was presented in the conflict being addressed or being fixed in a sense. And finally, let's talk about suspense. Suspense, it's those events that kind of add to the conflict a bit. And what the suspense does is it makes it seem as if the problem is going to be resolved, but instead it adds more interest to the problem itself. That's what happens when your heart begins to race and you begin to wonder what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. That is what the suspense is doing in tandem with the conflict that was introduced. So you want to think about it like a balloon that you're blowing air into. And you get to a point where it can't take any more air or you're going to burst. That is how your suspense operates in your story. Let's do a quick recap. Let me see what you remember. What are the main elements of the plot? I'll give you a hint. CCR. Did you guess conflict, climax, and resolution? If you did, you're learning. If you didn't, go back to the top of the video and review again. Another quick recap. What adds more interest to the conflict and makes you want to see what is going to happen next? This one is easy. Think about it. Did you guess suspense? Awesome job. You are learning. So, in a nutshell, your plot involves your conflict, your climax, and your resolution. And the suspense is just thrown in there for a little added flavor, a little added flair, a little added excitement. Happy reading!